They did it. The showrunners figured it out. How to have a happy marriage. That's it. You don't have to have an affair. We just all finger each other. Hello, my beautiful people. It's Lena. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy weekend. Hopefully, this will be uploaded in the weekend. So, if I say happy weekend, I hope you're enjoying it. Here we are. And just like crap, that I have got to control my Tourette's syndrome when it comes to this show. Episode 6, Season 1. We're almost there. We're past the halfway mark. There's only 10 episodes. So this weekend, I'm going to give you episode 6, which is right now, and then episode 7 tomorrow. Because after that, there's only going to be 8, 9, and 10. And when 10 comes, I'm going to have a freaking party up and down the street, okay? You're going to be so happy, and we're going to be so happy because we're going to move on to another show. So, let's get into this, my beautiful people. Scene open. Ding dong number 1, Carrie. She's buying a new apartment. She's with Anthony and with 2.0, Samantha. She's in an apartment, beautiful windows, a lot of light coming in, very modern, and one of the ugliest apartments I've ever seen in my life. Only because it's all white. White lamps, white countertops, because we only really see the kitchen. White cabinets, white chairs, white accessories. I don't know why they do this. This apartment had so many beautiful windows and all the light coming in, and with against all that white was just not good. I mean, they could have done some splashes of color, but I guess at that point buyers are going to be doing whatever they want. But it didn't appeal to me because I got it like that. I could afford that. So we have Carrie looking out that beautiful window with Anthony, and Anthony is very, very thrilled about all the light that's coming in. And Seema is out on the terrace, by the way. It's a wraparound terrace. And Carrie is concerned because it's too white. It's not even too white, just too much light. And Anthony's like, that's great. You need that coming from your little jewel box that is all crickety and rickety and moldy. Sure, the apartment is downtown. It's, overlooking the water, which is overlooking Jersey as well. Did they just say downtown? I don't know where downtown is. It could be anywhere, but obviously it's a very new type of penthouse. So Anthony is thinking that he needs to move on and also find a realtor to help him out of the apartment that he shared with Stanford, because he had sex the night before on the bed that he and Stanford never did it, and he was not comfortable. Carrie's reaction was like, did you really need to say that? And he says, yep, I'm rebounding, and I'm the type that's going to talk all about it. See, I love Anthony. He should have been number 4. He should have replaced Samantha. He wouldn't have been the exact replacement, but he's funny. He could do a good job. But no, because next we see Samantha 2.0 out on the terrace talking to her father. So this whole episode, I'm going to take it as what I would consider the filler episodes, because I really feel that way. Like, these are just episodes that are just introducing you to other aspects of the other characters that we, as the audience, never cared about. So we are watching Seema and listening to Seema talk to her dad, who's watching the Knicks game at his home. And he's asking her if she's got a new sari, which is a beautiful, beautiful Indian dress. And I'm telling you, I want one of those. I wish I could pull one of those off with the belly and everything like that. They're really beautiful. So they're going to have a Dali party, which is the celebration of light in their culture. And he's talking about the fact that, he wants her to find a husband and be happy and married. I want to ask my viewers and anybody else that's coming in and checking me out for the first time. Do you honestly believe that being married automatically makes you happy? I think that no matter what, every culture at some point, or a culture at some point, will always believe that. I'm here to tell you that that is not the case. Now, you could be happily married, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be happy. Now, Seema has made it very clear, 2.0 has made it very clear that she's 53 years old. Her parents, who had an arranged marriage, are still wanting her to get married. I don't know how I feel about this. I have a son. I don't know if he at 53, I would be still wanting him to get married. I'm not sure. I did find it odd. This seemed more like someone in their 20s and 30s going through this with their parents. I didn't understand why we had to still hear this for a woman who's 53 and has never been married by her parents. I don't know what the concern is there. And we really don't get into it with their parents. I mean, it's just very generic, the conversation. He wants to know if she's got her new sari for the Dolly party, and she says she's getting one, and to please stop asking her about her love life. And she's smoking a cigarette, and her dad asks if she's smoking, and she's literally puffing away and says, no, I don't smoke. See, if you have to hide what you're doing, then A, there's a problem. That's it. Don't do it. Get rid of it. The next scene you have is Samantha 2.0 going back into the apartment where Carrie and Anthony are in, and she's asking if, Carrie wants the apartment, and she's still walking around just checking it out, and Anthony is giving 2.0 a look, like checking her out, trying to figure out, who's this chick. I thought they were going to go that way completely, but no. Because after Carrie walks away from the two of them, she's wearing this full-on leopard outfit, which I believe I've seen on her, or a remnants of it in another episode, and I talked about it. So he looks at her and he goes, growl. That means I guess he likes her and we have to stay with her. Though I know this already, but at this point I'm trying to go back to what I remember seeing. And I'm remembering why I didn't review season 1. For many reasons. Okay, next scene. Carrie, ding dong number 1. Miranda, ding dong number 2. And Charlotte, ding dong number 3. They're all having, I'm assuming, brunch at a restaurant. And Carrie is complaining about the fact that she really doesn't love the place that Seema, or 2.0, showed her. And generic speaking happens where, oh, don't buy it. You should love where you live. From Miranda. Charlotte, it's like, oh, it's too modern for you. And Carrie goes on to say, well, I've been dragging 2.0 around for the last, I don't know, something weeks. And I needed to pick something, so she purchased the apartment. Right there. I guess off camera. And the girls and ladies are like, oh wow, okay, so you have a new place. Wonderful. It's time for the break-off sessions, which is Ding Dong 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to leave Ding Dong 1, Carrie, alone. I got to go focus on Ding Dong 3, which is Charlotte. This whole episode was Charlotte having a cow, literally, or a stroke, or she was going crazy because between her daughters who want to change their room, especially Rock, she wants to get rid of all of the Madame Alexander International doll collection that Charlotte had gifted both of them throughout the years. Both of Lily and Rock say they're old-fashioned, they're old, they don't like them, and they're embarrassed when their friends come over because they're international dolls. Charlotte's having a heart attack because she is still believing that her children are young. Rock wants to paint the wall and she wants to cut her hair short, and Charlotte is stroking out. She's like, oh my God, what do you mean? You want to get rid of the dolls? You want to cut your hair? You want to paint the wall? Oh my God. And finally, Lily's like, breathe, Mom. It's okay. You'll get over this. This Every episode I keep saying this was hard. I'm now remembering how more difficult each episode comes in after. This is going to be harder and harder, people, for me to make funny. So I hope you're laughing. There really isn't too much of a show. Oh, well, no. I'm going to say Charlotte had a mini arc after she had a large stroke. So, Miranda, ding dong number 2. Her story sort of leads into the professor's. Now we have to understand a little bit more of the professor's relationship with her husband and the whole trying to get pregnant. So she is in the library, fantasizing about her fingers thing in the last episode with Che. She's on total fantasy land. The plane, fantasy island, completely gone. The professor walks up to her and is like, hello. She wakes up from her whatever vision, and they go out to have coffee. And the professor's asking her to help with this organization that she created to help paint homes for disadvantaged people. As she's trying to explain to her how she needs Miranda to help, the professor's husband calls, and literally, the short conversation is that they're going out with his best friend, which is the best friend and the wife, which the professor calls Fertile Myrtle. She gets off the phone, and Miranda sees that she's perturbed, and they just proceed to explain that the professor doesn't want to go out with this couple because they are now with 2 children in 3 years, and she feels uncomfortable because they have no children. And every time who she calls Fertile Myrtle is speaking, she always brings up her kids. Of course, they're parents. That's what happens when you're parents. Everything is wonderful the first 5 years. So she's trying to explain to Miranda why she doesn't want to go, and Miranda's like, well, what is her real name? And she says her real name is Myrtle. She was born on Myrtle Beach. I yawned in this entire sequence, so I'm passing it by only because this was not a major chunk of this episode, but it had some parts to it. Miranda is at home in bed, apparently during the day. Steve, nowhere to be found. And we are now greeted with Miranda's masturbatory sessions. She's got her vibrating. She's fantasizing about her finger lewd with Che, because I don't know what else to call it. Her son is knocking on the bedroom door, and she is very heightened in her voice. And her son is asking, are you okay in there? He doesn't hear the vibrator, obviously. And she's like, yes, everything's fine. And he's like, okay, Mom. And he's going off to see his girlfriend, and she got off. I don't know how she did that, because when someone disturbs anyone in any kind of capacity in that way, I don't know how she really got off on it. I was like, okay, thank you for showing that. They really did a number on this series. It sucked. Let's go back to the professor, because this is how the scenes are cut. So I'm sorry if you don't like the editing. I didn't like it either. So we all have to live with this. The professor is having dinner with her husband's friends. And of course, she's trying to cut off Fertile Myrtle, because every time there's a conversation, it kind of leads into, oh, my kid and my kids. And she's desperately trying to cut them off because she doesn't want to deal with it. She just doesn't want to deal with it. And the reason why I'm bringing the scene up, because it is very annoying. I'm going to tell you, not just because of the scene, but just how people are and when they react to other couples. So they try to order drinks, and the Fertile Myrtle says, I'm not drinking. So the professor asks him, why are you pregnant again? And they both looked at each other, everybody at the table, and they said yes. So Now it's 3 children in 2 years. So the professor and her husband are like, oh, that's great. That's great. And this couple proceeds to ask them, so how's it going with you? They know that there's an issue with them. And this is the part that made me uncomfortable. I'm like, guys, stop. Don't do that. Please, if you're a friend and you know somebody is going through this, don't bring it up unless they bring it up. Don't mention it. Don't throw anything in their face. That was so rude. Because they go on and on, oh, you should have kids and you should be having kids and kids and kids. And I'm like, my God, how insensitive of you. That was my point for this sequence. I really didn't care, other than I was like, oh, friendship. What a bitch. Anthony. Anthony is calling Carrie. She is now in her new aesthetically white hospital apartment. He calls her to say that Stanford had made an appointment for the two of them for his and his facelift consultations. This is when I knew what this episode was trying to do. Okay. He asks her to come because he doesn't want to get convinced to do anything crazy. Carrie is in her kitchen and it appears that she's cooking. First time ever. I focused on that because, first of all, it was the only thing in color in that whole kitchen. I think it was salmon and some asparagus. She's trying to salt it, and she picks up the phone and she's speaking to Anthony, and there's an annoying beeping going on in her new apartment. By the way, if this is boring, I'm sorry, but literally, this is what this is story about. So she's excessively trying to find out where this beeping is because she is so inept that she can't do anything and not even know where a beeping sound comes from. Anthony is telling her, hey, it could be the dishwasher. Try the dishwasher, try this. Nothing. He asks her to come to the appointment and she doesn't want to go, but he says, please, because I don't want to do anything crazy. And here's the scene that I was like, wow, they're taking a page from every fan that's been bitching and complaining about this whole series. The next scene you have is Anthony and Carrie at the consultation for the facelift. The doctor comes in and thought that it was Carrie that was going to be for the consultation. Obviously, his assistant got the wrong room number for the patient. He apologizes, and it's Anthony that wants the consultation, and he literally leans up to him and he says, well, you don't really need a facelift. Your number 11 and 12s, which I could only presume are mine as well, they could use a little Botox, but you have great skin, and no, you have great Italian skin. You're hot. Anthony's like, best consultation ever. I would have said the same thing. It was very strange. I was uncomfortable. Until Carrie, who just was there as a friend, had decided to ask the doctor to give her a consult. He rose up on his chair, goes up to her face just the way he did with Anthony, and she proceeds to have to explain to him why she looks the way she looks as he's looking at her face. 1, she hadn't slept because of the beeping noise in her apartment. 2, she's tired. 3, she just lost her husband, and that is what he sees on her face right now. And he's just staring at her, and he's like, doesn't give the same reaction that he gave to Anthony. He's literally looking at her as if he's staring at every dollar sign he can have to fix her face. He says, you could use a refresher. And Carrie is like, a refresher like a nap? And he's like, no, he literally listed 18 different things he can do on her face. Oh my God. Mini facelift, mini brow lift, Botox. He practically put an entire face on her as he was explaining it to her. And she was like, wow, that is not the reaction she thought she was going to get, because Anthony was hot. Then he says he can do a digital imaging of her face, and she's afraid. I don't blame her. As he's doing the digital imagery and on his computer screen, and he shows her all the stuff that he can do to make her look 15 years younger. He finally gets to the last part of what he was going to do, and she looks like she would have maybe looked 15 years ago, and she goes, oh, I remember her. It is a computer screen. I would love to know if that really happens, because I think that to present that to anyone without really knowing if that's what can happen, because I've seen some scary stuff out there, and I don't know if they had the same kind of imaging screen. And she says, how much? We don't know the price. And then that's it. The next scene is the three ding-dongs at a park, at a picnic table. Whereas Miranda is dressed as the picnic table blanket. I don't know what they were doing. I didn't understand what's going on here. They start talking, and Carrie proceeds to tell them that she got the consultation for the facelift. And she says it was very expensive, and Miranda goes off saying, this is what I mean, they make women feel bad about aging. And then Charlotte is going after Miranda. Oh, well, it should be okay for women to do whatever they want, if it's a little Botox, a little this. And they're literally all three of them fighting about this whole situation, about aging, not aging, doing something, not doing something. I don't have many girlfriends. I'm very, very reserved. I think I explained that to you guys in my last video. I do have my friends coming over today because they haven't really spent time with me in a while. And when that happens, I normally don't get asked if they can come over. They just tell me they're coming over. So I guess, ding, my time is up. And I was really thinking about this. I was like, you know what? I don't really talk about this with my girlfriends. Now that there's nothing wrong, and there should be some, talking about it, because everyone has a choice to do what you want. Do whatever makes you happy, please. And there's a conversation, and I get it, but I've never really talked to my girlfriends. We're all around the same age. Actually, I'm older than them. They're not even 50 yet. They're close to 48 to 49. So I'm the actually oldest of the group. And we don't talk about Botox. We don't talk about surgery. I might talk about it with them, but I don't know if I would do that. And I know a lot of girlfriends do that. Do you do that with your girlfriends? If you're my age group or any age group, do you go and discuss this and fight about it? If it only stayed with that conversation. So they're drinking non-alcoholic alcohol. I'm going to say wine, because it's suddenly Miranda has quit drinking cold turkey. So Charlotte is very proud of her for the way that she quit. And then Miranda says, well, you should hold your horses, because I've replaced drinking with excessive masturbation. Okay. Then Charlotte says, ooh, what's your fantasy? Tell me all about it. I would not ask my friends that. Miranda says, ooh, well, it's not really multiple people. It's just one. I have been fantasizing about Carrie's boss, Jay. And Charlotte says, oh, yes, yes. And everybody's at the table looking at her like, what? She goes, I totally get it. She's sexy, or she's saying she at this point. She's hot. She had a fantasy about her after the show in the last 3 episodes before this, after the comedy skit, and that she says that she was on a boat and Jay was there, and then that she doesn't remember anything else, because that's a sexual fantasy. So then Miranda says, well, there's more to it. It's more like I'm fantasizing about something that happened, and Carrie is about to choke on her food because she knows where she's going with this. And she proceeds to tell Charlotte, I had sex with Jay in Carrie's apartment when we thought Carrie was sleeping. And Charlotte lost her shit. She says, what? And then Miranda says, no, Carrie and I talked about it and she's okay. And Carrie's like, yeah, no, we talked about it, but I'm not okay. I just don't know what's going on. And Charlotte is telling her, well, what are you doing? You're married. What? Are you gay now? I don't understand. What's happening? Why are you doing this? This is wrong. So, and then Miranda says, well, I'm not gay. I don't know. But Che doesn't identify herself as gay or straight. She's non-binary. And then Charlotte, again, loses her shit and says, I don't care what she calls her. You're married to a man. You have been with men this whole time. And I'm like, wow, they went there. And Charlotte says, I'm sorry. Miranda says, oh, I'm going to go back. Charlotte says, you're having an affair. Trigger, 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 trigger. Miranda says, it was not an affair. It was a finger. They did it. The showrunners figured it out. How to have a happy marriage. That's it. You don't have to have an affair. We just all finger each other. It's like a get out of free jail pass. It's wonderful. Now, most marriages will be happy. Because, could you imagine? Could you imagine being in a marriage and your partner says, hey, honey, how was your day? Great. I got fingered by so-and-so. That's great. It's not an affair. It's just a finger. It's wonderful. You resolved it. Amazing. Now everybody can just go on with their lives. As long as you get fingered, you're good. Judge, my wife or my husband, I want a divorce. Why? Because he was fingering or she was fingering someone else. No, sorry. That's not an affair. That's a finger. You cannot get divorced. Bang. Next. Honey, can you finger me? No, I was too busy fingering somebody else today. I'm tired. Can we just have sex now? Sure. There will be no problems in this world if that was the way everybody took fingering. Amazing. Showrunners, fantastico. Is this part of the marriage vows now? To have and to hold, sickness and in health, fingering allowed, bypass affairs. I saw this 3 times and I was just sitting there, I'm like, wow, this should be part of everybody's society. Do you know how many marriages and relationships you would save if you were allowed to do that? Charlotte lost her mind. She goes, you felt good over a finger? And she's going off on her. And Miranda gets pissed off and tries to get up with her picnic table dress and her leg fell asleep. And she's asking Carrie to help her to try to walk away, dramatically. And suddenly, Charlotte screams at her, you're having a midlife crisis. You should have dyed your hair. Carrie turns around and says, you're not helping. And I'm thinking, hey, she's the only one that's actually speaking sense. Charlotte, crazy one, the one that's out of space. Carrie tells Miranda that she can't walk away. We've lost too many people. We've lost Samantha. Big is dead. We can fight, but you can't walk away. So she sits back down, and Charlotte is like, listen, I just want to understand. And now I realize that Charlotte's losing her mind because she's trying to understand her own child. And she's like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself. And she says, I'm asking because I'm going through something. Okay. Where do I go from here? I don't even know where to go from here. I honestly don't. Because I'm like sitting here, I'm like, whoa. Next scene. Carrie is coming out of her apartment wearing the sari that she purchased with 2.0 because they went to a store that sells these outfits, and she had asked if she could come with her to this celebration of light party. 2.0 said absolutely. She said, get a sari and you can come with me. But please remember that this is a celebration of light. Plus, my whole family is going to be talking about the fact that I'm not married. So Carrie gets out of her apartment. She gets into the car with Seema, who's smoking, yet again, in the car. And I don't know how people don't smell it on her. I honestly do not understand that. She's not even trying to hide it. Like, oh my God. They go to the party. Carrie's in front of her parents. And her parents are asking about 2.0's boyfriend, David. And thankfully, Carrie caught on because they kept asking, where is he? Why don't we ever see him? He can't be so busy. He's always with some sort of doctors with borders. And Carrie's like, yeah, well, okay. And they ask, is he fat? Or is she embarrassed of us? And she just covered for her and said, I don't think that he's good enough for him. And they say, well, we want her to be happy. She's 53 years old. Get over it. If she wants to get married, she'll get married. And I'm not talking about the parents. I'm talking about the showrunner. Stop it. She's not 20, 30 years old that you need to be pushing her. I felt so, like, this whole thing was just so weird. I'm like, come on. Really? We have nothing to do with this character. 2.0 comes over, and her parents says the jig is up. We think that you could do better than David, and so does Carrie. Okay. The next scene, you have Carrie and Seema in her car again, and Carrie asks her, David? She's like, listen, it's just easier if I tell my parents I have someone. And Carrie's like, easier for who? You or them? She goes, both. And she named him David and made him white in case for the fact that when she tells them that they broke up, you know, the fantasy guy, they won't be too upset because he's white. I don't think they really care anymore. They're just trying to throw you at anything. Seriously. And Carrie asks, are you really happy? And she goes, most of the time. And this is what I remembered. This is why I said I couldn't believe what was going on in season 2, because I thought she was much more secure in her single life. But clearly I didn't pay attention much to this season. And I realized she's on and off like a light switch. One minute she's okay, the next minute she's not. But it's only 4 more episodes to go, thank God. She gives her a bracelet. Seema 2.0 gives Carrie a bracelet, thanking her as friendship. Okay. The next scene we have is Carrie at her old apartment. Oh, she's in her old apartment because she tells 2.0 that she wants to sell the apartment, and 2.0 is like, okay, we'll sell it. At that moment, I really think Carrie was going to kiss her. She was so happy to hear that. She goes, really? She goes, yeah, you have to be happy where you live. Of course, it's a transaction for her. What's the matter? She will transact you all over Manhattan if she could. So now she Carrie's in her old apartment, and she's looking in the mirror, and she finds her Carrie necklace, and she looks at herself and she says, you know what? I don't need the surgery. I really loved the last 15 years. And that's it. That's it. Then you see the ending credits of her unpacking all the boxes in her new apartment, her old apartment. We have Charlotte looking at her kids as Rock cut her hair and changed her wall, which she had hand painted for her as Rose. They took down all the Madame Alexander International dolls, and Charlotte is becoming self-aware and saying, well, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. My kids are growing up. That's it. It's over. Miranda, you see her texting Jay, asking her to hang out. You know, the finger not affair chick, they person. This was fun, guys. I appreciated that nothing. This was a show about nothing. This was worse than Seinfeld. There was no real story arcs. We now know that Anthony doesn't need a facelift, but Carrie does. We now understand that Miranda has a fetish. She can't control certain things. Like, She goes obsessive on anything. So one minute she's drinking and she gave that up, and now she's masturbating. Charlotte is trying to come to terms with her family dynamic now. The professor is not pregnant and doesn't want to go through another round of IVF. And she's afraid to tell her husband, who wants children. I love you people. You know that, right? Because I do this for you. And I'm also doing this because I'm going to round this series out. Because it was season 1, season 2, season 3 is coming. And I want this out in the ethers, out in the internets, that I did this. May never, ever, ever go viral, but maybe somebody fall on it once season 3 comes in and can run through this entire sequence with me and enjoy what I bring to you all. Because for the ones who have kept watching, who keep commenting, who come back and talk and look for me, thank you. You guys are amazing. And for my new subscribers, thank you for coming and subscribing. And I hope that you are enjoying this. Take a look at my other videos. Tell me, I'm actually growing as a creator. I'm going to be changing things up. I'm learning different animations. I'm doing different things. I am going to do the next episode, number 7. My girlfriends are coming over tonight. So I'm trying to do these videos so I have them all up and ready for you by today and tomorrow. I am looking forward to the last episode. We're going to have a party. We're going to have some drinks. You're going to relax because I already know what it's about. And we're going to need drinks. The next one is just as a filler episode too. I think 7, 8, and 9 leading up to 10 were just like trying to squish everything in and push everything in. But we, I, you, us are going to enjoy this because no matter what, even if it's bad, I'm going to make it funny for you guys because I love to hear the comments about how funny you guys think I am and how much I make you smile and how much you enjoy this. You may not be rewatching this, but I am, and we're going to get into more and more shows. Thank you so much for everything, guys. Everything. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. You guys are amazing. I will see you in my next episode, and I will not be going away. So keep commenting, watching, liking, subscribing, and I will see you in my next one. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.